My top tips for gardening on a budget. And now no-dig gardening is the method I use, and long term it's actually one of the cheapest, most efficient and energy efficient ways to garden. Obviously it gets cheaper once you're making your own compost. The first year, however, you will be using a lot of compost, and that has probably been my main expense this year because I'm starting from scratch again in this garden. To save money, however, I don't bother with seed starter compost. I use a peat-free, multi-purpose compost, and I don't even sieve it. I'm all about maximum results for as little cost and effort as possible. Cardboard. Every good no-dig bed has something they are using to suppress the light to the weeds, and it also provides a bit of structure to the compost too. Now I find cardboard sufficient depending on what I'm growing in the bed, depending on how much I layer up the cardboard. But again, this is all free. I use boxes that have come through the post, removing stickers first of course. And I get everyone I know to collect cardboard for me from supermarkets. The ones they use between drinks packs are great too. I actually prefer them. And they're usually an ideal size for the bed, and that's what I used under the potato bed. And it's perfect for my growing needs. It's free, and a layer of 4 to 6 of them does the job easily. However, this lot was donated to me. The cardboard then mulches down and also helps to feed the soil. So we want to avoid cardboard with lots of print on it, and you want it as plain and chemical free as possible. So these are the cardboard sheets that you find that they put in between the drinks. Pots. Again, you can recycle containers such as strawberry trays, mushroom trays, ice cream tubs and yogurt pots and similar for starting off your seeds. You can also use the inside of toilet rolls for growing seeds in too. It all depends on what you are growing. And flower stands occasionally give away buckets too, so you can also ask for them. Now, labels I normally make my own out of anything to hand, and even cut up yogurt pots make excellent labels. However, I was given a pack last year by a friend who had surplus, and I'm still working through them now. In the past, I've also used lolly ice sticks too. I can't afford or even justify the cost of seed cloches, so I wrap my trays in trusty cling film. And I've been doing this for many a year, and obviously I water the compost well before I put in my seeds, and then I cover it, and it creates its own micro environment. And I've had good success doing this for a few years now, and as you can see, I only planted them about 2 days ago, and already, due to the cling film and the little micro environment they've created, I've got all my radishes popping up really quickly. Seeds are relatively cheap to purchase. However, you can cut costs further by seed sharing and bulk buying with friends. Once you get growing, you will regularly find people all too willing to donate courgette and tomato plants your way, trust me. I shall never forget the Great Allotment Courgette War of 2022. I haven't even bothered growing courgettes this year. Poor Hobbes, that's all I'm going to say. I think he's still emotionally scarred, and he wasn't even a willing participant. Multi-sowing is also a great way to save on the quantities of compost you use. And I forever scour Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree and eBay for bargains. And this load of pallets behind me were all free off Facebook Marketplace. Some are destined to become a mud kitchen, while some has been used as temporary fencing, and others will go towards other projects over the coming weeks. And you want pallets to say HT, which means heat treated, not chemically treated, if they're going to be in contact with food. Water butts are a great way to store up rainwater to use on your plants around the garden. I haven't managed to get one set up yet, but I do intend to do so. And it's also useful in a drought when there's a hose pipe ban on. Only grow what you will actually eat. No one here likes beetroot, for example, so it would be a waste of time, energy and money to grow it. Very occasionally, I may pinch a seed or two of something unique to try growing from a friend. If I like it, I may introduce it as a crop. However, with autistic kids, allergies and autoimmune conditions, I'm quite selective on what veg I actually grow. So I tend to just do multiple sowings of our regular staples or bigger crops of our regular staples each year. A lapper likes to make yourself known, don't you? You're very vocal. And you always find the muddiest spot to sit in, don't you? Especially after grooming. Feed. Now, making your own, such as liquid comfrey or a nettle-based feed, saves more money long term. I am using a good quality organic feed this year, but I am going to start making my own again, because unfortunately I've not had a chance to do so with the house move and starting university this year. So for me, it's going to be a good quality, probably a seaweed based one for this year. As for a trellis, I'm probably going to be making those myself. Well, not myself, being disabled, I do need help from other forces, shall we say. Now, I got this chicken wire off Facebook Marketplace, and it was an utter bargain. I mean, an absolute bargain. I was really lucky to get hold of all this. So I'm probably going to use some of this to make my trellises, because that will cut costs too. And I want to try training my vining squash and peas to grow up into safe space, because obviously I only have a small space to grow. The teepee frame is bamboo, and I actually have that bamboo still saved from when I had the allotment. So I am reusing these, and I'm going to try a teepee this year. However, even cattle panels can be used when you're growing upwards. Anything you can salvage, old metal fencing can do as well. I'm also going to be connecting these poles with garden twine, because that will help me create a bit of a trellis there, and I'll be able to grow up the wood then. You can make even the basic of designs look pretty and rustic depending on what you're growing. So my hops are going to grow up here and grow over. So this temporary fencing that I've installed will actually look like a living hedge once I'm finished with it. Another top tip is to look around your space. Look around your garden. See what you intend to grow. See what resources you already have, and see what you can repurpose. Growing from cuttings, such as cloning plants, is another good way to stock your garden. Obviously, you have to follow the local laws when it comes to doing so out and about in the wild, but friends are usually happy enough to supply cuttings when you ask nicely. And this one came from an allotment. Companion planting is a free way to help support your crops, and calendula, for example, also known as pot marigold, is great at protecting certain crops from aphids. Basil works well with tomatoes, and so on. So make use of the strengths of nature and work with it to your garden's advantage. Nasturtiums are another one that comes to mind that I will also be growing, probably next to my peas in all honesty, because I can train them to grow up the TP alongside the beans. And we see all these posts with the perfect aesthetic all over social media. The perfect aesthetic of what a homestead should look like. Even the urban homesteads are really, really beautiful. But when you're on a budget, that can be so much harder to attain. And the priority is growing your food, not making it look pretty. The priority is the result at the end that you get, your food, for all that work and effort. So it doesn't matter what it looks like, as long as your garden is actually producing what you need. So let me know your top tips for gardening on a budget.